How are you doing today? Sorry for the late start. Just trying to put some things in place and then we can get started. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. Just 1 minute. All right, got that in place. All right. It's good to have you here. It's good to have everyone here. We're starting off on a teaching series, which is titled Lessons I Learned from a Failure. Lessons I learned from a failure. A wise person learns from everything. A wise person learns from everyone. You may ask, what can a failure teach me? Well, one of the things a failure can teach you is how not to be a failure. All right. One of the things that you would realize is that failures all have certain things in common. Same with successful people. Successful people all have certain things in common. The way they succeed or the way they fail may be different. Their paths may be different. The exact things that they did may have been different, but there are certain common things that run through, certain thread that are familiar. And so for successful people, we want to learn what those threads are so that we can also follow that path. But for failures, we want to learn what those threats are so that we can avoid them. All right. So that is why we are dealing with the topic lessons I learned from a failure. And we're going to be talking about this all through the month of April. I'm going to start with three lessons for today. Hope I can get through with that within the time we have. And then we'll continue next week. All right. So the very first thing I want to say to you, the very first lesson, right, you learn from a failure is this. A failure says yes to everything. Let me repeat that again. A failure says yes to everything. Failures do not know how to say no. I believe that the word no is the most powerful word in the dictionary. I believe that the word no is the most liberating word in the dictionary. I believe that the word no is the most protective word in the dictionary. No will protect you. No will protect your focus. No will protect your energy. No will protect your destiny. No will protect your goals. You realize that you are a limited resource, right? So every time you say yes to something, you are automatically saying no to something else. If, for example, my wife should ask me, what do you want for dinner? And if I should say, for example, that I want fried rice or jollof rice, by saying that, automatically I've said no to amala, pounded yam, stuff like that. So every time you say yes to something, you are automatically saying no to something else. And every time you're saying no to something, you're automatically saying yes to something else. The issue with failures is that they say yes to everything. So they are always overwhelmed. They are always overburdened, right? They are always overstretched. They have little or no energy for what is important. No should be something that is common because you need to be able to say it to protect what is important. I remember one time when we were going to have this meeting, unveiling the princess within, some many years ago, unveiling the princess within. And so I'd reached out to someone, a very popular lady, operating in the business space, and I'd asked her to come. And she said to me, she said, what you need to do for me is write a letter detailing what the program is about. When I review the letter, if what the program is about is in line with my current goals, my current focus, if it's in line with what I am currently teaching people on, what I am passionate about, then I will be there. But if it's not in line with it, if it's a distraction, if the topic is totally different from what I am currently focused on, then I'm sorry, I can't come. And I respected that because what she was saying to me was that my focus, my goals are very critical to me, and I will say no to anything that don't align with my focus and don't align with my goals. That's what a failure does not do. Does this make sense to you? A failure says yes to everything. Let me say this to you: never, never feel guilty about saying no. The issue with a lot of people is that because we want to be liked, because we don't want people to feel we are bad, because we don't want people to feel, that there is where we feel high up there, we are willing to say yes to whatever it is that they say, regardless of the consequences on our own destiny, our own future, our own goals. But nobody succeeds by being conscious of what other people are thinking. Nobody succeeds by being focused on prioritizing what other people are thinking. Does this make sense to you? So if you are going to succeed, you must learn how to say no. In fact, no should be your default setting. So the way it should work, you should have a list of commitments. You can't commit to everything. You can't commit to everyone. But there should be a list of things you are committed to. And it should be a short list. Now, everyone and everything on this list gets an automatic yes. Everything that is not on this list must be reviewed. You must find a reason, a good reason to say yes to something that is not on your list. Does this make sense? So, for example, I'm committed to very few things. Number one, I'm committed to my relationship with God. All right. Number two, I'm committed to my family, my wife. All right. So I want, to please God. I want to make my wife happy. Number three, I'm committed to the Grace Lineage family. Right. So anything that has to do with Grace Lineage, on track, all of that, anything that has to do with it, I'm committed to that. All right. Number four, I'm committed to building an upwardly mobile career, right, in the business space. Okay. So anything that has to do with my career in terms of where I want to go, I'm committed to that. Everything else outside of God, my family, Grace Lineage, my career, everything else is not a major commitment for me. So everything else, I must find a justifiable reason to say yes. Does this make sense to you? Because when you do that, you are able to protect yourself. You are able to give more qualitatively to what is important. All right, let me say that to you again. When you learn how to say no to things that are not important, you are able to give more qualitatively to things that are important. John Rohe says this, or Ron says this. He says that or rather, he said he used to say that I'll take care of you if you will take care of me. He said he later realized how foolish that sentence was. So he changed it. He changed it to, I will take care of myself for you if you will take care of yourself for me. In other words, I will improve myself so that I can better serve you. All right. I will be a wiser person so that I can serve you with my wisdom. All right. I will be a happier person so that I can bring happiness into your life. Okay. I will be a more knowledgeable person so that I can advise you when you need, all right, information. Okay. So he said, I will take care of my own self so that I can show up more qualitatively for you. And that's what saying no is about. Saying no means moving away from everything, or from most things rather, that are a distraction. Because some things are distractions, yeah, but I mean, you find that for one reason or another, you have to do them. But for moving away from most things that are distractions so that you can better improve yourself. All right, better build yourself up so that you can show up more powerfully for things that are truly your commitments. So, my question to you today is this: What are your commitments? Who are those that you are committed to? What are the things that you are committed? And they can't be too many. What are the things that will automatically get a yes from you? Everything else must bring a good reason for you to say yes. No should be your default setting. Let me say that to you again. No should be your default setting because the purpose of no is to protect you. Will you come and do this? No. Give me a reason why I should. Will you come and go here? No. Give me a reason why I should. Would you come spend time with me? No. Give me a reason why I should. Would you get involved in this project? No. Give me a reason why I should. Practice saying no so that you can say yes more powerfully to things and people that are important, that are critical to your destiny. All right. So the first lesson I learned from a failure is that a failure does not know how to say no. All right. Okay. The second lesson I learned from a failure is this: failures are always looking for who will change their lives rather than what will change their lives. I'll say that to you again. Failures are always looking for who will change their lives rather than what will change their lives. Failures have this destiny helper complex, this destiny helper mindset. A failure believes that someone out there or one event, one random event will just happen. Someone will just see you and like you and just want to help you and push you and catapult you to the top. All right. Or you just have a lucky break. Do you know how many people have wasted their lives waiting for a lucky break? A successful person knows that if I am going to be lucky, I have to create my own luck. That if I am going to be successful, I must be my own primary destiny helper. All right. A successful person knows that any success that does not flow from inside cannot be sustained. All right. A failure believes that to succeed, it must come from outside. Someone will just help me. Someone will just see me and do something. But a successful person knows that, look, success flows from within, not without. All right. So a failure believes that his boss will one day see him and say, I like you. I'm going to promote you. But a successful person believes that his boss will one day look at him and say, I like your skill. I like your competence. I like your capacity. I am going to create, I'm going to promote you. So it's about his skill, his competence, his capacity. A successful person knows that he must improve on himself to enjoy the success that he has. A failure believes that he must improve on the people that he knows. He must improve on his connections. He must improve on the people that have the capacity to help him. And that's the difference. People spend years waiting for destiny helpers. I've said this before. You are your own number one destiny helper. Let me give you a story. There's this guy. A couple of years ago, I needed a carpenter, right? Someone to do some things in the house for me. So I got introduced to this chap, nice guy, good attitude and all that stuff. I gave him the work. He did it well, very good, right? It wasn't anything major, just fix some doors, this and that. So I now started calling him whenever I had things to do like that. All right. When I moved to the new place, right, I called him to help fix this, fix that, and all that stuff. One day, someone from the office said to me, we need a carpenter. We need a carpenter. The one that we have is just billing us, giving us all sorts of crazy quotes, right? Acting funny and all that stuff. Immediately, my mind went to this guy. I told the person in the office, I know a guy. I connected the two of them. They called him over to the office. He accessed what it is that they wanted him to do. He did a perfect job. I called after, or rather, I asked the person in charge after, how was the work? The guy said, the work was perfect, the work was good. Do you know that from that day onwards, this carpenter became the office's guy? Anytime they had an issue, he's the one that they would call. Now, when I used to call the guy, the jobs I used to give him were in thousands, 10,000, 20,000, tens of thousands, all right, at the very most. But when the office called him, the jobs that they were giving him were in hundreds of thousands, sometimes entering into, millions. All right. Now, to him, I'm a destiny helper, but I could recommend him because of his skills. Now, I know another guy. He's a painter. When I moved into the place I live in now, I told him to come paint the place for me. He told me he'll be done in 3 days. I said, no problem. This guy spent over a week painting. And by the time he was done, yes, he had painted the walls, but the floor was in a mess. Paint all over the place was just looking messy. I was upset. I was annoyed. Blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I paid him off and I released him. All right. A year after, and when I wanted to paint the outside of the house again, and because of time, I just called him up and said, hey, you know what? Come paint this place for me again. He said, no problem. He came, he assessed it. He said that it would take him 2 days. He will be done. No problem. This guy spent over a week again. And by the time he was done, the floor was looking messy. All right, outside the compound was just looking messy. I was upset. Now, guess what? They came to meet me in the office again and they said, we need a painter. We need a painter. We need someone that can paint the office complex for us. We need this, we need that. Do I know anyone that can do it? I said, no. Capital, no. I don't know anyone that can do it. And I told the guy, I said, guess what happened? I told him, guess what happened? I had an opportunity to introduce you for a job, but I refused to because of how incompetent you are when it comes to delivering your job at the right time and delivering a neat job. The guy was like, why would I do that to him? I'm supposed to be his destiny helper. No, I'm not your destiny helper. I'm not committed to you. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Destiny helpers are not committed to promoting you. They are committed to promoting your skills. They're committed to promoting your capacity. They're committed to promoting your abilities, but they are not committed to promoting you as a person. Why did Pharaoh say to Joseph, come and become, the governor of Egypt? Because of Joseph's capacity. Does that make sense to you? So a failure believes that I will have a lucky break. Things will just happen for me. Someday, it go better. Something will happen, right? And my life will change. False. False. And so a failure spends his life waiting for that thing to happen. Bishop Oyedepo says this. He says that success is by luck. Just ask any failure. Right? Now, every failure will tell you that I'm not successful because I'm not lucky. And that is not the truth. A successful person creates opportunities for luck by developing his skills, his talents, his gifts. So, what I'm saying to you is that if you do not want to end up as a failure, realize that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. All right? Nobody is coming to deliver you from yourself. If you are going to be delivered, if you're going to be saved, if you're going to increase, if you're going to prosper, if you're going to make steps forward, it will be because you took those steps. It will be because you did things, right, that brought the success, that brought the increase. All right? Does this make sense to you? All right? So the second lesson is failures are always looking for who will help them or who will change their lives rather than what will change their lives. A successful person knows that his life will change because of the internal factors that he must learn to push out of himself. All right, does that make sense to you? I'm going to go to the third one, which will be the last one for today. All right, the third one is this: a failure believes, right? So, let me just check that out. All right. Okay, a failure continuously makes unevaluated decisions. The third lesson I learned from a failure is that a failure consistently makes unevaluated decisions. A successful person is one who learns to evaluate his or her decisions before making a step or before taking a step. Look, let me tell you this. What you want and what God wants for you is to be able to build a system that can deliver things for you, a system financially that can bring in money. He doesn't want you to live your life going from need to need. All right. Praying today that God give me this, tomorrow God give me that, the next day God give me something else. That's not what He wants. What He wants for you is to have a system. He is the kind of person who creates once and allows his creation, or rather, builds a system of reproduction in his creation. That's why since Genesis chapter 1, you've not seen God create again. Do you understand? He's not creating the trees, he's not creating the fruit, he's not creating man, he's not creating anything. Do you understand? Because he has built in what he created a system that will continue to reproduce. And that's what he wants. He wants you to have a system when it comes to your finances, a system when it comes to happiness, a system when it comes to achieving your goals, a system when it comes to building a happy marriage. All right, he wants you to have a system that works, but you cannot have a system if you fail to evaluate the results of your past actions. Failures do not evaluate the results of their past actions. They go from one decision to another decision without asking themselves, the last decision I made, how well has it served me? Look, the most important skill you can develop as a person is the skill of making good decisions, because your life is a reflection of your decisions. All right. So the most important skill you can develop is the skill of making good decisions. Without this skill, your life will keep going around in circles, one mistake to another, one tragedy to another. All right. So a failure will jump from one relationship to another relationship without pausing to ask his or himself or herself, why did the last one fail? A failure will jump from one business endeavor to another business endeavor without properly evaluating. A failure will go from one month to another month, one week to another week, one day to another day, one year to another year, without evaluating whether or not the decisions you made in the past year are still going to serve you well in this year. The decision you made last week are still going to serve you well this week. You are ever changing. The you that we met last month should not be the you that we're meeting today. You are ever changing. Responsibilities change. Excuse me. Life is dynamic. All right. Things come to you that you did not plan for, that you did not plan, to do. Things happen. So you are ever responding to things, right? You are ever changing, which means that you must constantly evaluate the decisions that you are making. The friendship that you have, is it serving me? Or am I just holding on to something that is dead? All right, the relationship that you have, is it serving me, or am I just holding on to something that is hurting my future? The career path that you're on, will this path lead me to where I want to go, or are you just floating along? A failure consistently makes unevaluated decisions, and that's why he or she ends up as a failure. A successful person is conscious about the decisions he makes. All right. A successful person evaluates. Some people live their lives and make decisions like they're playing Ludo. Just throw the dice and see what comes out. Just enter the relationship and let's see what will happen. Let's see how it will go. All right. Just start the business. Let's even just see how it will go. No, 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 no. All right. That's the pathway of a failure. if you are going to succeed, then you must be someone who evaluates, all right, who also learns how to take counsel from people. The Bible says that in the multitude of counsel, there is what? There is safety. All right, there is safety. But a failure just runs about and ends up in destruction. All right, so those are three major lessons I have learned from watching the lives of failures. All right, to recap, number one, a failure says yes to everything. Failures don't know how to say no. All right, number two, failures make unevaluated decisions. All right, they're very, no, sorry, that's number three. Number two, a failure believes, or a failure is always looking for who will change his life rather than what can change his life. And then number three, a failure consistently makes unevaluated decisions. If you want to succeed with your life, you need to watch out for these three things and avoid them by all means. Thanks for joining me today. Trust you got to learn one or two things that were helpful. I will see you again. God bless you.